How's it going, everybody? Maxwell and McGee here, and today we're checking out a unique little indie game called Storyteller. Now, help me do that. I'm joined by the game's developer, Daniel Benmergui. Did I get that right?
Yes.
There we go.
Right.
Okay, I've been practicing that so many times. Daniel, thank you for sitting down with us. Let's go ahead and talk us through this game.
Okay, so Storyteller is a game about building stories in which players will build story plots. So it has a form of a puzzle game, and the thing is, it borrows to build these stories. It borrows from comics. So there's a bunch of frames that establish time, and what you do is you build a story over time. This is kind of the intro of the game.
So we're seeing how you put the characters into the frame, because sort of the frames are sort of like puzzles, and then the characters are the pieces, kind of. I don't know if that really makes sense.
Yeah, the whole story actually is a puzzle. You see. So here, like, you have a goal. Each level has a goal. Like, okay, Adam was alone, but then he found love. Right? That's a goal. And so what you have to do is you have to make up a story that fulfills those goals. Like in this case,
so we want to start out with Adam by himself.
Yeah, exactly. So
boom, there he is.
There he is.
Looking dopey.
Yes. And then we can add Maria here.
Oh.
And it's the nature of characters to fall in love with each other if they are comparable. And they also have some characteristics like being faithful or not faithful, and that actually matters to gameplay. And some characters have special traits, like Adam can commit suicide. Some other characters won't. So as the game progresses, you're given more and more sophisticated goals and more elements to build the stories. So in this case, you need a heartbreak. So one way of doing that is, to have a heartbreak, you need the character to already be in love, right? Because the stories are not connected between each other. It's just the stories are isolated from each other. So always start back at zero. Yeah, exactly. So in this case, we can make a heartbreak by doing this. Right? So the game has a simulator running the behavior of the characters and the objects in the game, and making sense of what happens across frames.
Now, could we also do it where Maria was the survivor?
That makes sense. Yes, you do. And it's a good solution.
Okay.
This is a very simple case of an alternate solution to a problem, but the game actually, as you have more elements and more frames, the possible solutions start to grow up, and people keep finding solutions to the puzzles that I never thought of. I keep being surprised even for simple stories. I keep being surprised by the solutions some people find. So in this case, we also need a heartbreak like before, but we don't have a tomb here, so we have to figure out a different way.
We only have 3 characters.
And you have to figure out a way, okay, I have to achieve the same thing, but without, getting somebody killed. So in this case, what we can do is have 3 characters who can make use of that, and you can make use of the fact that Maria is not faithful, right? So I think
I know where you're going with this.
She can do this, right? But you don't have a heartbreak yet because
she's just in love with 2 different dudes.
But if you do this, he's going to be a witness of
now we've got a real soap opera situation on our hands,
right? So every now and then, some stories has these special objectives. Like they're like extras. Like you can make a story which are interesting alternate variants to some of the stories.
So you can sort of help promote people to try different solutions.
Well,
and try
the game is going to try to get you to really understand how things work. So the game is going to make you go back to old stories because it's going to unlock new ways of solving them, and you're going to be more familiar with how things work. So you'll figure out how to do things that at first you didn't know how to solve them. Right? So here we have 3 frames. The frames start growing, so have more complexity.
They become more and more elaborate.
Yeah. So in this case, Adam needs to be heartbroken but recover. And here we make we take advantage of the same thing that we use to heartbreak him, which is that Maria is not faithful.
So she's not totally faithful.
Yes, exactly. So we can do this, and he fulfills the goal.
They got back together.
Yes.
Real quick, before we click ahead, I think I have an idea what these mean, but just have you explain it. The little broom over there? in the on
Yeah.
that side? Does that just clear everything out?
Yeah, it clears everything,
Right.
everything up.
And then the camera.
And this one takes a beautified version of the story, because one of the goals of game, one of the principles of the game is that each level that you solve, each story that you make, if you save it, if you save a comic out of it,
Sure.
anybody who has never heard of the game will be able to read it.
Can see it and understand what's
Yes, without even knowing that Storyteller even exists.
Okay.
Right? So you're learning to make stories that actually people can actually read. You're not just solving puzzles. That's one of the goals, the main goals of the game. So here I started getting a more complicated mechanic, which is Eve is actually faithful.
Ooh.
So here different stuff can happen. Like if she's in love with Tim,
If she's already in love with him, and then Adam
he
comes along,
he has no chance.
he's shut down. He gets the total eye roll
right
from Eve.
Exactly. And then, but you can play on that and see the stories start building up on what you learned before. So in this case, he's rejected just like before, but now he has to end up with her.
Oh,
So
dear.
what's the only way? I mean, she's faithful.
We're gonna have to get Tim out of the picture.
Exactly.
Oh dear.
So, so we can get Tim to die. And here's some of the magic of the game is that we already got the rejection that we need, but now he needs to end up with her. So the only way of doing that is for Tim to be out of the picture.
Okay.
So the way we do that is by getting him to die.
I get his
Jesus
face on
died.
that tombstone.
Yeah, and then she's pretty much available now because she's can't be faithful to somebody she knows is dead, right?
Ta-da!
You can see some of the things that the game is actually doing that the later stories play on, but actually the game is simulating what characters know. So in this case, she knows Tim died, right? But maybe she never realized that he died.
Oh.
So if she didn't realize that he died, he will reject Adam anyway.
Because she's still in love with him.
Yeah,
she doesn't know
and
he's
she doesn't.
dead.
Yeah, exactly. And Adam is obviously not telling her.
Oh, the tangled webs
Yes,
we weave.
exactly. And there's a few new mechanics in the game later on that allows you to play on what characters know and who they tell this information to. Yeah, so to get the more complicated stories. So many of the stories play on classical stories. Like in this case, you have to get a suicide out of heartbreak. See, Adam can commit suicide, nobody else. So if he dies, heartbroken, he's going to commit suicide.
Oh.
Right? So in this
His
case,
tombstone is extra grim.
yes. And these some stories are inspired by classicals.
We got a little Romeo and Juliet thing kind of going on.
Well, yep.
Oh, here we go.
So you have these two characters. This is a new character, the Saint. That she has some special behaviors. You're starting to get special roles, like their special.
She could resurrect herself.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
goodness.
And we can use that in this story. You need to have two suicides out of heartbreak, but this if somebody dies, it's he's gone, right? But so he's heartbroken because she died, and we're doing pretty much the same thing we did in the previous story, right? The simulator,
now he's committed suicide.
the simulator is the same. I mean, I'm not doing special things in each story. You're just playing with this basic
It's
simulator.
just building off of this same set of tools.
Exactly. So, but now she can actually resurrect herself, and she comes back to life. But she happens to realize that Adam died, and he's
Because Adam didn't know she was going to come back to life.
Exactly. So now she is going to kill herself because she can do that.
Oh, it's so tragic.
Yeah, and this is
Do none of these stories have a happy ending, Daniel?
some of them actually do.
Okay.
Well, we can bring her back to life and kill her again. So yeah, these stories some stories are based on classic, so inspired by classical stories. This is kind of an experimental feature I have that I'm trying to build a narrative out of this writer that is making these stories. Well, this is not really a happy story either. So we have Tim had it all but loses everything. So he can
He's got love.
yeah, he has love.
He's got a pot of treasure.
And
oh no.
He
no.
life starts getting a bit grim.
Oh, and there goes his sweet necklace.
Exactly. And here's another goal. Some of the goals actually make you think about how the game works to actually achieve them. Like he can lose 3 things.
Oh.
So the only thing that he has left to lose is his life.
Is himself.
But the thing is, you don't have enough frames to do that here. You know, we're running out of frames.
Yeah.
But one of the things you can do, and because this is a simulator, you can actually compress and tell more things.
Could we stuff the treasure chest in the same? There we go.
So he now lost his fortune and his girl at the same time, and now we have room to make him lose actually everything. So well, yes, this story, I'm kind of fond of this story, but it's very hard to explain, so I'm going to just blow through it. And now we introduce a new character, which is the villain. The villain can actually kill people and commit crimes.
It says so, right, in his little information bulletin.
Yes. So you need to have theft and murder.
Okay.
So first we need to. I mean, the villain is only going to act criminally if he has motivation to do so. So in this case, Adam is rich, and the villain is kind of envious. So
he's like, no, I want that.
Yeah, it's not going to be like that. So if you do this, and here's some of the magic of the game, which is one of the things the simulator does. Is
that's interesting. It automatically interpreted.
Exactly. That's
what Tim was going to do with that gold. It's not just that Tim got some gold, but he specifically took it from
Adam. That's exactly what the solver, the technology of the game is doing.
Okay.
Like figuring out all these things and looking at the previous frame and the current frame and making deductions out of it. Okay, so this only Tim is here and he has the money. So what happened there? So all that could have happened, and it ends up concluding, okay, because he's a villain, he could steal, and because he's alone, it was secret, right? So one of the things that happens is that, we need to have a murder as well. But he has no reason to kill Adam anymore.
Because he's got his money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But what happens if Adam becomes a witness?
Dun dun dun!
So now he has a motivation to kill him.
So how do you manage all of these different outcomes? Was it just a lot of like trial and error, having people come in and test things?
Well, yeah, it's a bit of everything. Like people sometimes will bump into interesting situations in the game, and other times I about this cool book which is called the Great American Bathroom Book.
Okay.
which is really awesome. It's a thick book, but it has like
I'm familiar with the series.
A lot of classical literary pieces with a 1-page plot summary of each one. So I just burn through that, and sometimes it clicks like, oh yeah, I can make this in Storyteller language. I could do this in the game. So
you can sort of take those plot points and interpret them
within the game. Yeah, exactly. That's what makes some of the classical story inspired levels.
Okay.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just programming the thing and figure out, with this rule I made, actually this can happen. That's interesting. I could make a story out of that, right? So there's multiple sources. The game keeps building on top of all these things, and then it reveals. The game will reveal some surprises, like some new devices, like these captions here actually modify what happens on the frames.
Oh no.
So these captions are there to represent really abstract things that you cannot represent with simple visual objects. So in this case, Adam has to fall in love for a woman he hated. So what we can do is set up this situation in which the villain wants the money.
He's got money.
So she takes the money from him.
He's a witness.
And he is a witness, and he's supposed to fall in love with her, right? But there's no way it's going to happen. He hates her.
Yeah.
Right. So what we could do is we can make him lose all memory. And this way he forgets everything that happened on the previous frames. And
now, how does it know that Adam is the one?
The trick is order.
Okay. Oh, so whichever one is furthest to the left.
To the left. I'm using this occidental way for you to represent this.
Okay. And
now it can actually,
And now. Look at that. I guess that's sort of a happy ending.
And well, there's new stories. Later on, these new stories that introduce a couple of new concepts, like role changing. Like this character is the same character with a different role, and then you can also change locations.
Ooh.
So here's a vampire, and he can be indoors, not.
Oh, but if you send him out in the field, it turns into stuff.
Yes, exactly. So it's these stories actually playing on that.
All right, Daniel. Well, do you have any sort of time frame or like release window that you're looking at?
I don't want to be overly optimistic, so I set myself, a very conservative goal, which is to release at the beginning of next year. It's going to launch on PC and Mac at first. It's going to be a Steam game.
And there's already sort of a prototype, proof of concept version of this game already out.
Yes, it's out, but it's 1,000 times simpler than this. I mean, it doesn't have any of what this game actually has. And then I might make a tablet release, probably.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much for stopping by. The game looks really fascinating.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.